Hi, it's Jay from Iridescent Tarot back with some more sparkle for you. And today we've got an unboxing. Let's get into it. This is the companion tarot to the Heavenly Bodies Astrology Oracle deck. As soon as it was announced that this deck was being created, I was like, I'm ordering that. It's got some shrink wrap. I've had the Heavenly Bodies Astrology deck for many years now, and I don't reach for it a ton because I'm not really an astrology person, but I've always liked having it around as an option should I choose to work with those energies, and sometimes I do. It's just not super frequent. And I do love the artwork from the artist, who is Lily Ashwell. This is the astrology oracle that I've been referencing. So even though Lily Ashwell and Blue, the two creators, have kind of been teasing images and, tidbits of this recently, it's been in the works for about 3 years now. Heavenly Bodies Tarot is a map of initiation. It reveals timeless patterns that shape every human life: beginnings and endings, choice and surrender, loss and renewal. These archetypal thresholds mark the soul's path of becoming. How you meet them shapes what comes next. Tarot speaks through symbol and story. Astrology speaks through the heavens. Not separate systems, but different expressions of the same living truth. This deck is devoted to that shared current, inviting you to meet the present with clarity, courage, and trust. Cool. Got one of these. So it comes in this beautiful keepsake box. If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear as it is, infinite. William Blake. The task is not to predict the future, but to be present enough to meet it. I love that. Nice hardtop book. Similar dimensions to the mass market astrology deck. This is independently produced, even though I had to purchase it through Amazon. They posted something about how that was the easiest and best for their back end support, so I don't know. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Young. Okay, you're getting me with the quotes here. So I'm hoping that because there's a lot of quotes here. I'm hoping because we're quoting Jung that there's some Jungian, thought throughout this deck. Until you make the another Jung quote. Good. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Okay, please. We've got ribbon. The task is not to predict the future, but to be present enough to meet it. Okay, we saw that quote already. So no double shrink wrap, which is nice. And it's just a band. Moment of truth for the cardstock. Okay, we don't hate it. It does feel thick. It's a thick deck. Here's a card from the astrology oracle. It feels right off the bat less papery than the oracle, which is nice. I was kind of hoping for that. And something else I'm noticing right off the bat, we kept these little keywords down at the bottom, which I really like that. And before I get into flipping through, let's just see if there's any kind of through line with the colors. Wands seem pretty warm, like orange pinky. Cups seem blue. Swords are also blue, but it's more of like a teal blue. This is more of like a cold blue, cool blue, warm blue. And discs are green. So yeah, I'm always a big fan when we can denote the different suits by a certain color palette or whatever, so I think that that's awesome. In looking at like the anatomy of a card here, we've got the name of the card, we've got the number up here, we've got our keywords down here, then we have all of our artwork here, and then it looks like there's a bunch of symbols down the side, and they don't look the same from this card to that card, so that'll be interesting to look up in the book and see what the symbols are all about. I love the color palette here. Like, this is very 90s child. She almost looks like an elf with her ears like that. You can't really tell if she's pregnant. Like, she might be, she might not be. Oh, I love this, the Hierophant with a little boy. And immediately I'm thinking about how this child could be the Hierophant younger self. So anyone who knows me knows that I'm not big into like super peoply decks. And we're starting to get into some like pretty peoply people, even though they have those like, elvish ears. because we didn't have the opportunity to see all the cards before purchasing, yeah, it might be too people-y for me. I don't know yet. Adjustment's feeling pretty thothy. And then the Hermit here is giving Gandalf. Synchronicity, so we're using some of those Jungian terms. This feels very Lumina Tarot-esque. Some of those like dots and patterns. I like this. Oh, art too. Okay, so we are definitely leaning towards Thoth here. Yikes, that tower. There's so much to look at in every card. I'm just flipping through quickly just to get a once over of the deck, but there's a lot to dive into. Just like the two halves of the brain, the growth up through reaching out towards both sides of the head, eye open, eye closed, this person here looking in the mirror. Like there's a lot happening in every single card. Okay. And I had a feeling that the quartz would be a little bit people-y as well. So we'll see how we do here. We've got our King of Wands, Queen of Wands, Prince of Wands, and Princess of Wands, and in that order. So, oh look, yeah, this is, I feel like we're getting really thothy. Interesting. I didn't know that, but I'm digging it. I'm not entirely certain about the art style either. I looked the artists up, and it just said like handcrafted, hand painted. And it seems like there's a symbol that's the same on every card, and it's the top part of the card that changes, which is interesting. I've never seen that formatting. Okay, so we're out of the wands and into the cups. Quartz don't have that symbol, but then the cups have this kind of as its through line. So that's pretty cool. It's an anatomical heart. And we've got some more symbols up top there. Okay, so the majors had like a whole slew of symbols and the minors just have 3. I really love these with, you know, minimal figures, minimal people. People, they're so people-y. The people are so people-y. Okay, I don't know about that. But I love the crystals. See, like this type of people where your face is covered and I can't really see your face is great. I don't know how that'll work for me. Okay, swords, we've got brains. That's cool. And a lot of air, like bird imagery, wings. That's cool. Yeah, I like the swords a lot. King of Discs, like that's not super people-y. I like that. Queen of Discs, love her. Prince, that is very thothy too. Princess. Yeah, she is more clearly possibly pregnant. And then our discs are like the whole person. So like your body, maybe. People-y personal art. We're gonna have to see how it goes when I shuffle. Interesting. That's a very laborious version of the 7 of Discs. He looks like he's really struggling to pull that card along. I feel like they took a lot of their inspiration from anatomical imagery. Okay, so for the sizing, we've got here's standard tarot size, and here is the deck. Definitely larger. This is 3.25 by 5, which is the same size as the Heavenly Bodies Oracle. For thickness of the deck, I'll just compare it to, this is Earthchild Tarot, which I believe it's a 350 GSM. I'm not 100%. But yeah, it's like notably thicker. And I feel like just by the flip through, like this feels more saturated in color palette than the Oracle. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, it seems like a little brighter. This is more grungy and this is more bright, which I like. This is the back. It's like a, looks like an orangey pink watercolor almost. And then this symbol in the center is like a matte gold. It does have like a tiny bit of reflect, so that's nice. I like that. This is the back of the Oracle. So definitely very complimentary and beautiful. So aesthetic, as the kids say, so aesthetic. Let's give her a shuffle. Okay, so it's definitely a reach for my hands to get around these cards, which is to be expected at this size. It's definitely, it's a nice cardstock. I like it. It's matte. It actually kind of reminds me of the Enchanted Tarot that recently came out, the 35th anniversary edition, like the same similar type of cardstock. Let's see how it fans. I don't have any complaints about the cardstock. Cardstock is nice. I think that they went with the larger card size image so that you could see the images. And I like the white border on them, so I don't think I'm going to end up trimming. Let's see how it overhands. Nice. Yeah, I like this cardstock. Let's see what card pops out, and then we'll look in the guidebook. I wonder if I have to go back and look and see how many of those cards look super people-y and see if I'm going to be able to deal with it. Because it is a sticking point for me in decks. But otherwise, other than the people-y cards, it feels like a full world that's been built, and that is reflected by this card that came out, the Universe card. From limitation to liberation, completion, and a new octave of being. And we've got the ocean in a teardrop, and the Ouroboros and the tree's roots are the ocean. I like that. And it looks like the mountains are here. So we've got air, water, fire, and just maybe the entire thing is earth. That's pretty cool. The symbols all coming down the side feel very matrixy. I don't know. Let's take a peek in the guidebook. So we've got some introduction and notes, understanding the tarot, decans and planetary ruling, a lot of symbol explanation, which is what I was hoping for. So I'll take a look at that. This might need its own deck study, to be honest. A few spreads. And then for each card, we've got 2 full pages, and it looks like the majors and the minors both have that, which is wonderful. Some space for notes, and then about the authors. Okay, let's take a look at our card that we pulled, the Universe. And a nice bookmark. The Universe is the culmination of the major arcana, the completion of the Fool's journey, and a return to cosmic wholeness. The cycle comes full circle. The Fool's entire journey was always contained within a single seed. In the artwork, a cosmic egg cradles mountains and seas, tree and rose, serpent and blossom, each symbol reminding you that every trial and triumph has served the greater unfolding. The masks, illusions, and identities once defined you have fulfilled their purpose and fall away. What remains is the dance of unity, where the small self recognizes its place within the greater whole. This is not an ending to cling to, but a threshold into the eternal cycle of renewal. Astrology of the Universe. The universe corresponds with Saturn, the planet of completion, mastery, and time. Saturn governs the structures that shape experience and the lessons that mature the soul. Here, Saturn reveals its highest gift, the freedom that arises when a cycle has been fully lived and its wisdom integrated. In shadow, the universe can appear as resistance to closure, fear of letting go, or clinging to identities that have already fulfilled their purpose. Alchemy begins when endings are honored rather than resisted. What completes is not lost. It becomes the foundation for a new cycle of growth. Keyword: energetics, sacred completion, seeing reality as it truly is, limitation, from limitation to liberation, a new octave of being. So basically it takes the energetic keywords and then chooses a couple of them and puts it on the card. Okay. And then in shadow, resistance to closure, fear of letting go, stagnation, illusion to finality, attachment to achievement, prayer. With every completion, I pause to acknowledge the chapter that is ending. In gratitude, I release what has brought me here and make space for what is beginning. May I honor the rhythm of life, birth and death, arrival and departure, knowing each transformation carries wisdom. In bowing to the cycles of existence, I remember that beneath every change, I have always been whole and life continues to unfold through me. So it's definitely very astrology heavy, which I kind of assumed given the name of the original Heavenly Bodies astrology deck. Now we've got Heavenly Bodies tarot deck. So we're in the astrology realm here. I obviously had to do the pairing with its sister deck first. So Heavenly Bodies Astrology Oracle and Heavenly Bodies Tarot on either side, just to see how they look together. I know that they're gonna look amazing. I think I saw somewhere on Lily Ashwell's socials that she was gonna be re-releasing the Oracle as an indie production. And if that's the case, I might end up repurchasing because I don't really love this cardstock. It's not bad. It's still just like a matte, but it feels a little papery. And compared to the cardstock on the tarot, it's noticeably more like flimsy feeling, I guess. Like it doesn't feel like it can take as much of a bend as this. They look awesome together. I feel like there's a whole world to explore and delve between these two decks, and these would create such a beautiful study together. I can sense a study coming on. Would anybody be interested in learning more? I don't know anything about this. Cool. I only pulled a few decks just to see what they would look like together. So this is my color oracle that I pair with everything, regardless of what they look like together. And I just thought that it would be fun to see them together. Some of the more purpley, pinky cards. Cool. Okay. All right. These are the witch kittens, and these are heart aligned affirmation oracle. I feel like I'm just showing you my greatest hits of all the oracles that I love with this deck, but I feel like these are the ones that are going to go the best. So yeah, I feel like for a long time I'm not going to need any pairings other than just using the astrology oracle and the tarot together, but I just wanted to show you so that you could have an idea. But I think these look great. Spread machine oracle, which I use with everything regardless of how it looks. But look at that with projection. Nice. This is the Dimensions of Light Oracle. I've been only pairing this with Mellow Schema, but I've been wanting to give it a break recently from that, just to use Mellow Schema in my Thich Nhat Hanh book by itself. So I've been looking for other things I can pair this with to see if I like it with anything else. I feel like it might be a tad too bright, but it definitely has a similar vibe. And this is my deck for Wonder Walking, which I typically do not combine with tarot at all, ever. But I just thought that they would look really cool together, and I'd be open to using it in a more oracular way versus in the typical way that it's supposed to be used, which is more of an embodied walking meditation. Yeah, I think that the artwork goes really well together, so it could be fun exploring different ways to use this deck in pairing where I've only ever used it on its own. The white borders help it, the brightness of the colors, then the grunginess where the tarot does a similar thing like that. Yeah, and the color palette seems on point as well. So that was just a really quick flip through unboxing of this deck, just to get a taste of what it looks like, as I really didn't have the opportunity to see all the cards before purchasing, but I knew just based on the art style from the Oracle deck that I was gonna love the type of artwork. It was more of, am I gonna be able to jive with however many faces there are? So I'm gonna go through, see how many face cards there are, and then just sit with that for a while, see how I feel about it. The cards that don't have faces or that don't focus on faces, I love. And I think that the artwork itself is stunning. The color palette is stunning, whatever medium this is, whether it's watercolor. It's hard for me to tell if there's gotta be some element of digital artwork. I don't know. It doesn't say anywhere that I could find. I can't comment too much on it, but I love that it has the keywords. I love that there aren't any name changes besides the prince and princess, which is pretty like easy to understand, easy to remember. I think the suit of swords is my favorite right off as the bat as an initial impression. And this is a deck that feels like it has the potential for a really deep deck study, which I would be happy to take on as soon as time allows. So if this was helpful for you, if you enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe, and I will talk to you later. Signing out.